All right, so tonight I want to kind of talk about time spent on exercise. And of course, so many times I hear the excuse that I just don't have time to exercise. And I personally don't buy that. We all have the same amount of time in the day. We each have 24 hours. It's just on how we choose to spend that time. And if you think about working out, doing some sort of exercise, just 1 hour, and that's kind of at the high end. If you just do 1 hour a day, and not even every single day, but at least 3 times a week, you're looking at only about 4% of your day. Now, a lot of people will only work out about 30 minutes during their day. And so, of course, that's only 2% of your day. So, what I want to do, this was just kind of fun and interesting to be able to pull up some different statistics on how most people, how the average person spends their time. And unfortunately, exercise is like clear towards the bottom of that list of how people spend their time. And so I just kind of want to throw out some questions for you. And you don't have to answer those, but just, answer them to yourself. But be honest with yourself and really look at what are you spending your time on? And is that benefiting you and your health and your future? And I know with social media right now, that's how a lot of people spend their time. And what's that benefiting you? Now, I like social media, don't get me wrong, and I do spend some time on it. And that's how I've been able to reconnect with a lot of school friends that I haven't seen for years. But it doesn't really do much more to enhance my life and help my health to just sit on it for hours upon end. And I know a lot of people that do. So that's just one aspect. So I kind of want to go over some of these, and I'm going to just ask you how you think you spend your time, or how much time on all of these do you think you spend. So if you think about that, we live an average of 70 to 80 years. That's kind of the average lifespan right now. Um, and I know it's kind of hard to think in terms of, how many years do you spend doing something? And we'll kind of break that down into your hours of the day. But how much time do you think you spend sleeping? So, if you spend 8 hours a night sleeping, then how much would that be over 70 to 80 hours? And this is the statistics I got are based on an 80-year lifespan. So just think about that. How much time do you think you spend sleeping or trying to sleep? I know I know a lot of people that have problems trying to get to sleep, stay asleep, whatever. But with revolving around sleep, trying to sleep, getting to sleep, staying asleep, sleeping, how much time do you think you spend? So write that down. I want you to truly take a look at this and do kind of an audit of your life and see where you're spending your time, and think about it and think, is this really benefiting me? How can I change this? And how can I do better for my health and fitness? Working. Okay, so that's something that a lot of us have to do. I mean, we have bills to pay. So unless you're retired, um, then most people are still working. So how much time do you spend working? Another one, and this is a big one. How much time do you spend watching TV? Do you come home from work and the first thing you do, you turn on the TV, you sit down, You might even eat dinner in front of the TV. And yes, I've been guilty of that before. So, I'm right there with you. Now I don't spend hours upon hours, and I really don't spend a lot of time watching TV. If we watch TV, we're usually plugging in some sort of a movie or, like on Netflix or something like that. But to just sit and watch TV, we don't. It doesn't do much for us. A lot of, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but a lot of what's on there is just mindless. And to me, it lowers my IQ. I have better things to do than that. So there again, not trying to dog you for that, but just be honest with yourself. And what can you do better with your time than sitting there watching TV mindlessly? And then, of course, I touched on it, but what about social media? How much time do you spend on social media? And I know a lot of people actually will sit there for hours scrolling. Um, and I know they've got the time tracker on there. So if you're unsure, check that. You might be surprised. But a lot of times people will just sit there for hours and scroll. Other times you'll pop on and you'll be on there for maybe half an hour, and then you go do something else, or, you're working and you pop on. Don't do that. And then you're on it later for maybe half an hour, and then you're off, and then you go back to it. So, all of that really adds up. So turn on that tracker. That'll really kind of give you an idea of just exactly how much time you spend. And be honest with yourself. Again, this is not for me to know. So, I don't necessarily want you telling me, but be honest with yourself and just think about that. And then eating. How much time do you spend eating? And then there's, of course, exercise. How much time do you really spend exercising? And socializing. That's especially with social media. We've really kind of gotten away from meeting up with people and doing things and sitting around a table and just talking and getting to know each other, playing games. Gosh, I remember years ago and growing up, we used to do that all the time. And now it's unheard of, or very rare, that people actually really get together and enjoy each other's company doing things. So there's a lot of other things too. I actually pulled these statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there's other things out there too. And so, you can look these up yourself, but I just pulled these few just to kind of illustrate. So what they're saying is over the lifetime of 80 years, sleeping, you spend about 26 of those years sleeping. Who knew we slept so much, right? So that's about 38.1% of your life is spent sleeping, which is good. We all need sleep. We all need rest. So, that needs to be in there as well. And then working, if you were to work constantly with not coming home, not sleeping, any of that, that's how they figure that. But the average is you work about 13 years. I know that doesn't sound very much over 80 years, but I mean, that's talking like 24/7, which is about 19.1% of your life. And so you think, the first at least 16 years, you're doing school, you probably aren't working at all. Then you might start working part-time or whatever. But then when you really get into the workforce is more into your 20s and then up into your 60s. So generally, I mean, there's, people that quit in their 50s, there's people that work into their 70s and 80s, but they're taking an average. So about 19% of your life is spent working. Then watching TV. when you compare this to the amount of time that you work, it's kind of shocking. So the average is 8 years and 4 months of watching TV in your life, which comes out to be 12.2%. That's only a little less than 7% of the time that you're working as well. So about the same amount that you're working, you're also watching TV. And there again, this is an average of what they've done in their studies. Time on social media, 3 years. You spend 3 years on social media. And so that comes out to be 4.4%. So that doesn't sound like a ton, but when you compare what you could be doing to better your life, then to me, that seems a little bit high. So, yeah, check in on social media and, catch up, whatever, but don't just sit there mindlessly. That's part of your mental health as well as your physical health. And I'm about the whole being. Yes, I obviously, have the physical part that I train, but I also try to train around the mental as well. And if you joined last week, I talked about your mental state and how you view what your mindset is on exercise. So if you didn't see that, check it out. It's on my YouTube. So go ahead and check that out as well. Eating, we spend 4 years and 6 months eating, which comes out to be about 6.6%. Then exercise, we only spend 1 year exercising. That's not very much when you're looking at 80 years of life and you're only exercising, doing some sort of fitness or something for your health. And the less you do, the less likely you're going to make it to that 80 years, or those later years aren't going to be as good, as healthy. And that's what we all want, is we want a good quality of life. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then, it's going to be kind of a miserable life. So invest a little bit more time in your exercise. And then socializing, like I said, just getting together with people. We only spend about a year doing that as well. So that's like 1% of our life. So I'd like to see both of those increase, the exercise and socializing. Like I said at the beginning, all of us have the same amount of time. We have 24 hours, 365 days a year, and that equates to 8,760 hours a year, just in case you wanted to know that. So another kind of interesting statistic is the average person spends 13 hours a week just on emails. So, we're going through emails, and how much of that is spam and junk and, all that kind of stuff. That's 650 hours a year. And so that there again, working on the mental space, I try to make it a habit to, anytime I really start getting a bunch of spam type or junk emails, then I take the time, usually once a week, that I go clear to the bottom of those and I hit unsubscribe, because then that's not cluttering my email. So that's not cluttering my mind as well. And then I can focus on what's really important. So try to clear that kind of stuff out. It's definitely good for your mental health. So on an average, just daily, I have 3 different things, 3 biggies that I wanted to go over. So exercise, the average is people only spend about 17 minutes a day. And while that's good, it's a start, you're not going to see the benefits from 17 hours a day, that you will in at least 30 to 45 minutes, even an hour. If you go over an hour, then that's fine. It's not necessary. And depending on your age and your fitness level, then that can actually start breaking things down instead of benefiting you. So that's where a coach comes in to be able to work with you one-on-one, to be able to customize things specifically to your fitness level and your goals. So, but at least 30 minutes a day, then that's going to be most beneficial. And right now, the average is only 17 minutes. So let's up that. Watching TV is 2 hours and 46 minutes a day. There again, a lot of times people will get home from work and I get it. You're brain dead, you're tired, you don't really want to think. And so you turn on the TV just for mindless noise. I get that. But that's not doing anything for you. People say, but it helps me relax and I'm not really watching it. Well, if you're not really watching it, do something else. Take a break. Go sit in your backyard, go for a walk in the park or something just to kind of unlax and unwind. But then do something productive, whether that is exercise or reading a book. There's so many other things that you can do that benefit you, your physical health and your mental health. And then social media, the average is to spend 2.5 hours a day. And like I said, I'm on social media and on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, but that's primarily for my business and to catch up, just kind of catch up with people. But I might go through my notifications, clear those out. And you can actually, if you don't know this, you can actually set a timer also, at least on Facebook. I don't know if you can on the others, but at least on Facebook, you can set a timer so that after so many minutes, it either will shut you off, lock you out of it, or it'll just pop up a warning saying, hey, you've spent this much time. So because I do a lot of my posting and stuff in social media, then, for my business, then I am on social media, but I put a limit on that of 30 minutes. And that includes doing my business stuff. And then once that pops up, I know my time's up and, I need to move on to other things as well. So anyway, that's just a few statistics just to get you kind of thinking and really analyze your life and take a good, honest look at what are you doing? And are you spending enough time doing exercise and something to benefit your physical health, as well as get rid of some of the things that aren't necessarily the best for your mental health? So hopefully this gave you some food for thought. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always get back with me. And if you like these videos and some of the tips, be sure and like them, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will be starting a podcast, so I will have information on that soon as well. And so my hope is that I can give some value to you and just some little tips and things to think about revolving around your health and fitness. So, all right, that's all I've got for you. Be well and have a great rest of your week. Take care.